Crown Princess Kira Thesson had perfected the art of standing motionless. Years of military training had taught her discipline, but today's stillness came from a different source entirely. The careful blankness required to endure rejection without showing pain. She stood in the grand hall of the Crystal Palace, the afternoon light refracting through the crystalline walls in patterns that would normally fascinate her. Today, she barely noticed them. Her attention was focused on the departing figure of the Valorian trade prince, his ornate robes swishing as he walked away with barely concealed haste. He hadn't even stayed for the formal refreshments. "Well," her father's voice carried from his throne, tight with controlled anger, "that makes three. 3 suitors, 3 rejections, 3 men who had looked at her face and found it wanting." Kira touched her cheek involuntarily, tracing the familiar lines. 3 scars crossed her face diagonally, silvery white against her blue-tinged skin. They started above her right eyebrow and ended below her left cheekbone, cutting directly through her eye, an eye that still functioned only because of advanced Thessaran healing technology. The scars had been earned 5 years ago, in a battle that had made her a hero to her people. Leading the defense of a civilian colony against raiders, she had seen the blade descending toward a child and made her choice instantly. The blow meant for the girl had found Kira's face instead. 3,000 civilians had survived that day. Kira had earned the highest honor marks of Thessaran society, and she had become, in the eyes of the wider galaxy, damaged goods. "Perhaps we should end the choosing ceremony," she said, her voice carefully neutral. "I am prepared to rule alone." "Kira," her mother began, reaching toward her. "The alliance requires a marriage," her father interrupted firmly. "The alliance requires strength, which I can provide unwed." Kira turned to face her parents. "Father, I will not be paraded before more suitors who see only scars where our people see honor." The court fell silent at her breach of protocol. Princesses did not interrupt emperors, not even in private, certainly not in the grand hall. Before her father could respond, the herald's voice rang out. "Presenting the Terran Alliance Embassy, led by Commander Marcus Cole." Kira suppressed a sigh. One more rejection to endure, then. She had heard of the humans, a young species gaining political influence quickly, known for both their ambition and their adaptability. She knew little of their beauty standards, though she suspected they would be no different from the rest of the galaxy's shallow judgments. She turned to watch them enter and felt her breath catch unexpectedly. Commander Marcus Cole walked at the head of his delegation with a warrior's measured grace. Tall by human standards, he was powerfully built, his formal uniform emphasizing broad shoulders and a trim waist. His features were symmetrical and striking, high cheekbones, a strong jaw, eyes of deep brown that held intelligence and warmth. His dark hair was styled precisely, and he moved with the confidence of someone who knew his worth without arrogance. He was objectively and undeniably stunningly handsome, and he was walking directly toward her. Kira steeled herself. The more attractive the suitor, the harder the rejection seemed to hit. Beautiful people seemed particularly offended by perceived imperfection, as if her scars were a personal affront to their aesthetic sensibilities. Marcus stopped before her and bowed, not the shallow courtesy she'd received from the others, but a proper bow of respect to a ranking warrior. "Crown Princess Kira Thesson, it is an honor to meet you." "Commander Cole," she inclined her head formally, "welcome to Thessara Prime." He straightened and met her eyes directly. Not sliding away from her scars, not carefully avoiding looking at them. He looked at her face, all of it with open assessment. Then he smiled. "I've studied your military campaigns extensively, Your Highness. The Battle of Meridian Station is required learning at our war colleges. Your tactical innovation was remarkable." She blinked, caught off guard. The trade prince had mentioned her scars within the first minute. The Endorian had offered pitying comments about her sacrifice. This human was discussing her tactics. "You study Thessaran battles." "We study excellence in all its forms." Your strategic use of the station's environmental systems to create choke points, brilliant. You saved 3,000 civilians with that maneuver. It was necessary. It was extraordinary. His smile widened. I've looked forward to discussing it with you directly. Before she could respond, her father approached, formally initiating the diplomatic greetings. Kira stepped back, watching Marcus interact with her parents. He was respectful without being obsequious, confident without arrogance. He asked intelligent questions about Thessaran culture, showed genuine interest in their customs, and expressed admiration for their warrior traditions. And through it all he kept glancing back at her with interest, real interest, not pity, not morbid curiosity, simple, genuine interest. The formal ceremonies continued for hours. Kira participated mechanically, still waiting for the moment Marcus would realize his mistake, make his excuses, and withdraw his consideration. Surely once the novelty of meeting her wore off, he would notice the scars properly and retreat like the others. But as the evening progressed through formal dinners and traditional exchanges, Marcus remained attentive. He sought her out for conversation, asking about her policy positions, her vision for the alliance, her thoughts on interspecies cooperation. "You seem surprised by my questions," he observed during a quieter moment. "The previous suitors focused on other things." "Your scars, you mean?" She stiffened at his directness. "Yes. May I be blunt, Your Highness? I prefer honesty." "Then honestly, I find their preoccupation with your scars baffling. You're a brilliant strategist, a proven leader, and by all accounts an innovative policymaker. Why would anyone focus on marks of honor when there's so much else to appreciate?" She stared at him. "You call them marks of honor. Aren't they? You earn them protecting others. In human culture we call that heroism." He held her gaze steadily. "I don't see damage, Princess. I see proof of character." The evening finally reached the moment of formal declaration. Tradition required suitors to either confirm their interest in pursuing the match or politely withdraw. Kira stood with her family, prepared for the familiar sting of rejection. Marcus approached the dais, his delegation arrayed behind him. The court fell silent. "Emperor Thesson," Marcus said, his voice clear and carrying, "I formally declare my interest in the alliance marriage with Crown Princess Kira." Whispers erupted through the court. "You are certain, Commander?" her father asked, offering the traditional opportunity to reconsider. Marcus's jaw tightened slightly, as if the question offended him. "Absolutely certain, Your Majesty. I came to Thessara Prime seeking a partner of exceptional capability and character. I have found exactly that in your daughter. You have seen." Her father hesitated, clearly uncomfortable but bound by protocol to offer full disclosure, all aspects of the princess. Humiliation burned through Kira. Must her scars be discussed so openly? But Marcus's response came immediately. "I have seen a woman whose face bears testimony to her courage, who carries proof of her willingness to sacrifice for others, who wears her honor visibly for all to acknowledge." He turned to Kira, and his eyes held hers. "I don't see flaws, Your Majesty. I see credentials of the highest order." The silence stretched. Finally, her father nodded. "The Terran Alliance's suit is formally acknowledged. Princess Kira, do you accept the commander's interest?" All eyes turned to her. Kira looked at Marcus, at this handsome human who saw her scars and spoke of honor rather than damage. She searched his face for deception, for hidden motives, for any explanation of why he would choose her when all others had fled. She found only steady sincerity. "I accept," she heard herself say. "Provisionally, we have much to discuss." "I would expect nothing less," Marcus agreed, and his smile held warmth. The court erupted into excited whispers. Her mother was openly weeping. Her father looked stunned but pleased. Kira stood amid the chaos, her scars unchanged but somehow feeling different. Not marks of rejection, but what they'd always been meant to be, badges of honor. Recognized at last. As the evening continued, she couldn't help watching Marcus from across the room. He moved easily among her people, charming them with genuine interest in their culture. "What are you really after, Commander?" she wondered. But another thought followed. Or is it possible you actually mean it? Tomorrow, the courtship would begin, and she would find out. The traditional Thesaurian courtship period lasted 1 month, 30 days of supervised interaction designed to test compatibility between potential partners. Kira expected Marcus's enthusiasm to wane as the reality of his choice settled in. Instead, it grew. They spent their days in various activities, each designed to reveal different aspects of character and compatibility. Marcus proved himself her equal in strategic thinking, pushing her to adapt her tactics in ways no previous opponent had managed. "You're better at this than I expected," she admitted after he won their third consecutive strategy game. "I studied your past games extensively," he confessed. "You have patterns, Princess. Brilliant patterns, but identifiable. I knew I'd need to push you to make this interesting. You prepared specifically to challenge me." "I prepared to impress you. Is it working?" She laughed despite herself. "Perhaps." In the training yards, they sparred with blunted practice weapons. Kira's Thesaurian physiology made her stronger and faster, and she won every bout. But Marcus made her work for each victory, learning her techniques rapidly and adapting his approach. After one particularly challenging session, she offered him her hand up from where she'd put him on the ground. "You fight well," she observed as he accepted her help, his warm palm against her cool skin sending an unexpected tingle up her arm. "I fight like someone who knows losing is just learning in disguise," he responded, grinning. "Teach me that disarm technique again." She did, surprised by how much she enjoyed it. They toured her kingdom together, visiting military installations, civilian centers, and agricultural areas. Kira watched carefully for Marcus's reaction when citizens stared at her scars, as they always did. She waited for him to show embarrassment. Instead, he walked beside her proudly, his posture radiating respect. When they visited the colony she'd saved, Meridian Station, the survivors swarmed them. A young woman pushed through the crowd, tears streaming. "Princess Kira, you saved my life. I was the child, the one you protected when the blade came down." Kira remembered instantly. "Myra, you were so brave, hiding so quietly while I searched for reinforcements. You were the brave one. Everyone says your scars are ugly, but they're not. They're beautiful because they mean I'm alive." Marcus watched this exchange with an expression Kira couldn't quite read. Later, in the transport back to the palace, he spoke. "That girl worships you. She credits me with her survival. Because you saved her. At tremendous cost to yourself." He was quiet for a moment. "May I ask something personal?" "You may ask. Do the scars hurt? And I don't mean physically." The question cut deep. No one had ever asked her that. "Yes," she admitted softly. "They hurt because they've come to represent something negative when they should represent something positive. To my people, they are honor. To the galaxy, they are disfigurement. I have become unmarketable." "That's galactic stupidity," he said firmly. "That's galactic reality." "Realities can be changed, Kira." He shifted to face her. "May I call you Kira?" "You may." "Kira, I need you to understand something. I didn't choose you despite your scars, and I'm not pursuing you to make a political statement or to seem progressive. I chose you because when I researched potential alliance partners, every report spoke of brilliance, courage, and integrity. When I met you, I found exactly what I hoped for. And the scars are part of your story, a story of protecting others at cost to yourself. Why would I want someone without such a story?" He held her gaze. "Your scars tell me you're the kind of person I want to spend my life with. Someone who acts when action costs. Someone whose honor isn't just spoken but proven." She searched his face for lies, finding none. "You're strange for a human," she finally said. "I prefer perceptive." She laughed again, her second genuine laugh in his presence. 2 weeks into the courtship, Kira realized she was anticipating their time together. Marcus challenged her intellectually, treated her as an equal, and saw her scars as assets rather than liabilities. During a private dinner, she finally asked directly, "Why me, Marcus?" Truly. The Terran Alliance could ally with any world. You could have any partner. Why choose the scarred princess? He set down his utensils. You want full honesty. Always. Humanity is rising in galactic politics, but we're young. Prone to mistakes, sometimes too aggressive. We need partners who balance our enthusiasm with wisdom. He leaned forward. I volunteered for this mission because I'd studied you, not just your battles, but you. Your philosophical writings about warrior ethics, your artistic pursuits, your speeches about protecting the vulnerable. I saw someone extraordinary. And when you met me, saw the scars, I saw proof that everything I'd read was true. Here was a woman who didn't just talk about sacrifice, she'd made it, who carried her courage visibly. Slowly he reached across the table. May I? She nodded, uncertain. His fingers traced one scar gently, the first time anyone had touched them outside medical necessity. The gesture felt profoundly intimate. These aren't flaws, he said softly. They're credentials. Anyone too shallow to see that doesn't deserve you. Her breath caught. That night, Kira lay awake, touching her scars and remembering the warmth of his fingers. Something was shifting inside her, walls she'd built after the rejections beginning to crack. Was she falling for this human? The question terrified her. But 3 days later, when Marcus arrived for their morning meeting and smiled at her with genuine warmth, she had her answer. Yes, she was definitely falling. And that made everything more complicated. The engagement announcement sent shockwaves through galactic society. Thessarans celebrated wildly. Their scarred princess, long pitied, had found a partner who honored her. Marcus became instantly popular among her people for his public declarations about her worth. But beyond Thessara Prime, reactions were harsh. News networks buzzed with commentary. Human commander makes puzzling choice. What is Cole really after? Desperation or deception? The cruelest commentary came from the Valorian trade prince who had rejected Kira. In a widely broadcast interview, he sneered. Either the human lacks taste, or he's playing a deep game. No one sane would choose damaged goods. Kira watched the broadcast with Marcus in her chambers, keeping her expression neutral despite her clenching fists. Marcus's reaction was immediate fury. That arrogant shallow. Don't, she interrupted. This is what I warned you about. Lifetime of people questioning your choice. I don't care what ignorant people think. You should. Your career is mine to manage. He stood pacing. Kira, this is unacceptable. He called you damaged goods. You're a crown princess who saved thousands of lives. And in saving them became unmarketable. Those are galactic facts. Facts can be changed. Before she could respond, an alert chimed. The Valorian trade prince was requesting formal audience, apparently to challenge the engagement. Can he do that? Marcus asked. If he claims impropriety or treaty violation, yes. Kira's jaw tightened. He'll try to humiliate you into withdrawing. Let him try. The audience occurred 2 days later. The trade prince stood before the Thessaran court, resplendent in expensive clothing that highlighted his perfect features. I come with concerns, he announced. The Terran Alliance is young, inexperienced. I fear Commander Cole has been manipulated. Manipulation. Kira's father rose furiously. I suggest nothing, Your Majesty. I simply note that no experienced politician would choose a scarred bride without hidden advantage. Marcus stepped forward. Your Highness, may I address this? The trade prince nodded, looking surprised. Thank you. Marcus faced him directly. You claim I've been tricked. That choosing Princess Kira indicates foolishness or hidden agenda. I mean no offense. You mean considerable offense, but let me clarify. Marcus's voice carried command authority. I chose Princess Kira because she represents everything I value: intelligence, courage, integrity. Her scars prove her character. Her scars are disfigurement. Her scars are medals worn on her face rather than her uniform. Marcus's tone sharpened. You rejected her based on appearance alone. What does that say about your values? You see damage where there is heroism. You see flaw where there is sacrifice. That is your deficiency, not hers. The court fell silent. Let me be clear, Marcus continued. I am not manipulated. I am not foolish. I chose this woman because she is extraordinary, and anyone who cannot see that isn't worthy of knowing her. He turned to the court. Thessarin's honor scars earned in defense of others. Humanity should learn from this wisdom. Too many civilizations confuse beauty with worth, appearance with value. He looked directly at the trade prince. I pity you. You had the opportunity to partner with this remarkable woman and saw only scars. I see brilliance, courage, and beauty of the kind that matters, earned through sacrifice rather than genetics. The silence stretched until Kira's father spoke. The challenge is dismissed. The engagement stands. The trade prince withdrew, humiliated. Later in private, Kira faced Marcus. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. You've made a powerful enemy. I've made my position clear. He took her hands. I won't let anyone insult you. Not because you can't defend yourself, but because you shouldn't have to. Not about this. The insults will continue. Let them. What matters is what we know, what we build together. She studied him, this human who championed her so fiercely. You really mean it all, don't you? She whispered, every word. She moved closer, placing her hand on his cheek. You see me, Marcus Cole, truly see me. I do, and what I see is magnificent. She kissed him then, their first kiss, gentle but certain. His arms came around her, and she felt safe in a way she hadn't since before the battle that scarred her. I'm falling in love with you, she admitted. I'm already there, he replied. Have been since you laughed in the transport, and I knew I'd do anything to hear that sound again. She laughed now, free and joyful. Outside, the galaxy continued its shallow judgments. Inside, two people built something that transcended appearance entirely. And that, Kira realized, might change more than just their lives. The wedding was scheduled for summer solstice, 3 months after engagement. The first human Thessarin royal marriage in history drew intense galactic attention. Marcus integrated himself fully into Thessarin life during those months. He learned their language, studied their customs, and trained with their warriors, earning respect through genuine effort. Kira watched him win over her people with his authentic appreciation for their culture. He never hid from her scars, never suggested covering them, never treated them as anything but proof of valor. But he also saw beyond them to the whole of her. They spent hours in deep discussion, challenging and expanding each other's thinking. She found herself excited to see him each morning, sad when duties separated them. You've become essential to me, she told him one evening. I hoped for that from the moment I saw your fire, he admitted. The night before the wedding, Kira stood before her mirror, studying her reflection. The scars seemed prominent in the lamplight, 3 silver lines crossing her blue face. Tomorrow she would walk before the galaxy, scarred and proud, binding herself to the man who chose her. A knock sounded. Enter. Marcus slipped in. Traditional bad luck for me to see you, but I needed to give you something. He produced a small box containing a delicate circlet, Thessarin designed but human crafted. What made her gasp were the 3 crystal lines crossing its surface, mimicking her scars exactly. Marcus, I had it made to honor your scars. When you wear it, everyone sees I don't just accept them, I celebrate them. I chose the rarest crystals, because your courage deserves to be marked in beauty as well as silver. Tears streamed down her face. You made a crown to match my scars. I made a crown to honor what your scars represent. Tomorrow you'll wear the traditional bridal circlet, and that's right. But this is from me to you. When she looked in the mirror, she saw not a damaged princess but a warrior queen claiming her destiny. The ceremony took place before representatives of 50 worlds. As Kira walked down the aisle, she heard whispers, some admiring, some still cruel. But her eyes found Marcus at the altar, and his expression stopped her breath. He looked at her with such love, such pride, such certainty that every doubt evaporated. She reached him and took his hands. The ceremony blended traditions beautifully. When they spoke their vows, both voices rang clear. "I choose you, Kira Thesson," Marcus said, "not despite who you are, but because of it. Your scars speak of courage I aspire to. Your heart holds honor I hope to deserve. In you, I've found not just a partner but a purpose, to stand beside you, to support you, to love you in every moment." Kira's vows matched his intensity. "I choose you, Marcus Cole, because you chose me when none others would, because you saw honor where others saw damage, because you taught me my scars are not barriers to love but bridges to it. I promise to lead beside you, to love you with the same fierce certainty with which you love me." When they kissed to seal their union, the hall erupted. Thessarans cheered wildly. The human contingent applauded joyfully. Even some skeptics seemed moved. But the moment after mattered most. As they turned to face their subjects together, Marcus raised Kira's hand high. "Today marks not just our marriage but new understanding. Let the galaxy see. Scars are not flaws, they are stories of survival. They are proof of sacrifice. They are beauty of the highest kind, beauty earned through courage." The response was thunderous. At the reception, they danced together for the first time as spouses. Kira wore his crystal circlet, her scars honored in beauty. "You've changed everything," she told him. "We've changed everything together." Around them, guests mingled, dozens of species talking and laughing. Several scarred Thessarans were present, and Kira noticed them holding their heads higher. One young warrior woman approached. "Your Highness, thank you." "For what?" "For showing us our scars don't define our futures. That there are those who see honor where others see flaw." "He truly loves you for you, doesn't he?" she asked, glancing at Marcus. "He truly does. Then there's hope for us all." Marcus returned to Kira's side. "What was that about?" "Hope. What we're building. Heavy topics for a wedding. The best topics." She took his hand. "When you chose me, you did more than choose a wife. You challenged galactic standards about beauty and worth." "I just love my wife," he said simply. "That it changes things is a bonus. The real reward is you, your mind, your heart, your fire. I'd choose you again 1,000 times." She kissed him publicly, uncaring of protocol. He'd given her that freedom, to be fully herself, scars and all, without shame. As celebrations filled the Crystal Palace, Kira Thesson, now also Kira Cole, stood beside her husband and faced her future. There would be challenges, prejudices to overcome, minds to change. But she wouldn't face them alone. The handsomest human in the galaxy had chosen the scarred princess, and in doing so began a revolution that would echo through the stars. Sometimes the great